Good evening. Roosevelt Watkins here with Hope Organization. Want to take this opportunity to thank you so very much for tuning in each Thursday at 7:30 p.m. as we bring you information as well as inspiration. Want to take this opportunity just to remind you of some incredible things that we're doing at Hope Organization. Hope Organization is one organization located in two locations. First location is 9231 South Cottage Grove at Bethlehem Star Church, as well as in the Inglewood community. We're located at 6921 South Halstead. We want to remind you also that there are several services that we provide. We provide assistance with light and gas. So those individuals who are behind with their light and gas bill, you may have your lights or gas disconnected, or you're just struggling to pay your bills. We can provide some assistance for you. Just need to be a low-income resident. Bring your current light bill and gas bill, proof of income for the last 30 days, and Social Security cards of everyone in the household. Also, we're running this week for our spring break. Those parents who need to have their children in a safe haven place, we have a location for you as well at 9231 South Cottage Grove, where we can provide safe haven between the hours of 10 and 2. And next week, we'll go back to our regular hours from 3 to 6 p.m. for after-school programs. We're providing snack and lunch for our students. I want to take this opportunity to wish each of you a happy Passover week. We call it Holy Week. And those of you that need a place to celebrate Good Friday, we encourage you to come to Bethlehem Star Church, 9231 South Cottage Grove at 12 noon. We have 7 powerful preachers who will be speaking on 7 powerful words from the cross, and we'll love for you to come and be our guest. Lastly, just want to remind you, happy resurrection. You know it as Easter. We call it Resurrection Sunday, and so want to wish you a happy Resurrection Sunday early. And those of you that don't have a place to worship, again, you heard me say it several times, 9231 South Cottage Grove, and we'll love for you to worship with us at Bethlehem Star Church at 11 a.m. Listen, tonight it's going to be a phenomenal program. We have one of the rising stars in our city with us tonight. He's of age. He really can speak for himself. He really needs no introduction. Many of us see him all across the city of Chicago. He's the top cop, second cop in command here in the city of Chicago, and we just love and appreciate all the work that he does. He's a fellow who worked his way up the ranks, and he's no stranger among us. I'm delighted tonight, and if we had a button to clap hands, we'll push that button right now for our special guest who's with us tonight, First Deputy Superintendent Al Wysinger. Come on, we appreciate you being with us tonight. How are you tonight, sir?
I'm good, Pastor Watkins. How are you this evening?
We're wonderful, and we're delighted to have you here tonight. I know the phones are going to light up because tonight we're going to talk about an issue that's dear to all of us, public safety. And those of you that would like to talk to the man, he is in the house tonight. That's right. First Dep is in the house tonight, and he's going to share with us. We're just going to talk off the cuff and just talk about some issues that are dear to Chicago. 312-738-1060 is the call-in number. It's going to be a hot show tonight. 312-738-1060, Can TV 21 Live. So this is a live show that's going in. You'll have the opportunity to talk about some issues, questions, or concerns that you may have. You can talk to the First Dep for yourself. That's right. Tonight you'll get an opportunity to talk to him for yourself. I'm going to ask him a few questions. I see the phones are lighting up already. And so as you call in tonight, if the line is busy, hang up and call back and we'll get you through. First Dep, just tell people a little bit about yourself. I see we got callers and we'll take that.
Okay, I was born and raised in the city of Chicago, primarily on the west side, Austin, North Lawndale, and also Inglewood. I'm a product of Chicago public schools, both elementary and high schools. Did my bachelor's work at Chicago State University and eventually Calumet College of St. Joseph. So I have a bachelor's degree in law enforcement administration. This is my 28th year doing this.
Wow.
And as you said earlier, I did rise up through the ranks, started as a patrolman, tactical officer, sergeant, lieutenant, district commander, deputy chief of 2 separate organizations, the Organized Crime Division, and I went over to the be Deputy Chief of the Detective Division of Area South, with that, I had the entire south side. Anything south of Madison all the way to the city limits was mine. So as you already know, that's pretty much a hot area, and that's the position that I held until I was appointed to my current position of First Deputy Superintendent.
Yes, sir. Well, we're delighted to have you tonight, and people need to know that you didn't just get where you are. You worked your way up through the ranks. Listen, we're going to take a call. I see that we got a call in, so we're going to get it in before we get to some of the questions that we're going to ask. Caller, are you there, and what's your name?
Joe, I'm going to ask your guest, don't take it as a personal attack. I live in the Inglewood area, and I have a lot of stress due to, how can I put it, in terms of my quality of life. In my area, there's only two types of crime the police seem to care about, involving guns and drugs. And in doing so, how are we going to get new businesses to come in our area when the police don't want to patrol down certain areas? And and people hanging out in front of the stores. If I was a new business owner, why would I open up in a community where the police is not going to give me the same type of service like in other parts, like say the north side of Chicago, where they don't tolerate people standing in front of the building? And that's just for one. And if my burglar system go off, guess what? It may be up to 3 hours or more until they respond to it. If I was living on the north side, guess what? They would respond to it much more quickly because they give Miss Lily White much more better service.
Okay, we appreciate your call, Joe, and we'll have the first dep answer your question. Continue to watch the show, and he'll answer your question. So it's pretty much what people say all the time, that we get different services across the city of Chicago. The response is much more different than on the north side compared to the south side. Even an article came out in some time about 911 responds differently to different parts of the city of Chicago. So how do you respond to that?
You know, when we try to treat the city as equals, we don't necessarily try to treat the north side any different than the south side or the west side. As I alluded to earlier, I'm from both the south side and the west side. But you may see a difference when it comes to response time, because the west and the south side are primarily busier than the north side. I mean, they do have fewer police officers than we have on the north and the west side. I know people find that hard to believe.
Hard to believe.
The majority of the manpower is scattered throughout the south and the west sides, because they're primarily the hotter districts. Having to respond to so many calls is another thing that adds to the slow response time, which is why that was one of the first things we tried to do, was to try to get the response time system changed to where we only responded to what we would like to say were priority calls. So we tried to take out of the hopper responding to calls like kids fighting over the remote, or a lot of disturbances that might not have necessarily needed an actual police car to respond to. That slows down response time in a lot of our community, because we have the tendency to just dial 911 for non-emergency things, just to see how fast you can get the police to come.
Okay, very good. Listen, we got a whole lot of hot button issues in the city of Chicago with this new concealed carry law that's out. Is one of the issues people are complaining about. Also, and you can touch on these, the issue about marijuana, drugs, people being arrested for marijuana. And is that really an issue? In Inglewood, people are saying, why would business come, as the caller called in, to the communities if there's no police patrol? So let me just be the devil's advocate, and don't want to use the term devil, but devil's advocate. When you go to the Magnificent Mile, you'll see 3 to 4 police officers per corner. But when you come on the south side, in Inglewood or a Roseland, people say you don't see the same police presence. How do you respond to that?
The police presence is there, but again, the Magnificent Mile is just a small, concentrated areas. 3 or 4 blocks up and down Michigan Avenue, where you can actually have a concentration of police officers, and it looks like a huge, overwhelming police presence. When we try to do the same things in the busier communities, we just can't afford to do that. Not saying that the manpower is not the same, but you can't just stack them up in one place. Inglewood is not Michigan Avenue. Again, it's just a 2 or 3 block stretch along Michigan Avenue where police officers tend to concentrate. The same police officers are in Inglewood, but they're just spread out. You might have some along 69th Street, probably some down on 55th Street. And what we've done, we've brought back foot patrols, which actually gives us the opportunity to get out and engage people. I heard him allude to earlier about the problem businesses in the various parts of the districts in our communities.
Correct.
One of the things that we would probably do in order to eradicate a lot of the people that are hanging out is try to put pressure on the business owners to ensure that the people that are not purchasing things are not just hanging out. I mean, some of them want to say that they don't want to call the police because of retribution, but if you have a business in the community and you're serious about being a positive stakeholder, it's your duty to call the police officers and let us come and do our work. You know, you have guys standing in front of your store all day selling loosies, drinking wine, the whole 9 yards.
Right.
You cannot expect to attract a positive type of clientele because nobody wants to walk in and out of that store. So you're really killing yourself and you're killing your business and you bring the community down.
Good point. Let's when we get after this caller, let's go back to that police beat walking the street. We got a caller that's on the call, 312-738-1060. Caller, are you there?
I hope you answer this question. When you have a situation involve different suspects, they separate them, all right? They question them individually, all right? They don't give them a chance to compare notes that you may say. But when incidents involve police, why they don't separate them when it comes to respond to certain things? They have up to 6 months. Why do they allow that stuff where police can get their story together when it involves different incidents? Can you answer that?
You understand the question?
Yeah,
Okay.
I don't think they necessarily get 6 months. If you've seen what we've been doing under this administration, I mean, we've probably stripped more. When I say stripped, relieve police officers of their police powers probably faster than any administration that I can remember. We just had an incident that was actually in the paper yesterday about some false testimony with some police officers. We got wind of that earlier this week. As soon as we got wind of it, we brought those guys in and they were relieved of their police powers. So we're not giving them 6 months as you just alluded to, but they do have due process. They're represented by a union and by union contract. There's certain things in the contract that we as the administration have to abide by and have to follow. So it's not that we don't want to just necessarily go out and administer punishment, but you know, they have a right to a trial, they have a right to union representation in the whole 9 yards. That's what makes the process seem and actually turn out to be long.
There's so many questions that we have that you're touching on. When you talk about police, we hear about racial profiling. We hear about police sensitivity to the community, and then most of all, we hear a lot about police gunning down the young men in the community. What's your take on that from the administration side, from the police side, and being in the community because you worked on the west side, you were raised in the city. So is there racial profiling that's an issue in our community? Is there police insensitivity to our community because especially in the African American community, we see a lot of white police officer who comes into the community. What's your take on that?
My take on that, I can't necessarily say that there is insensitivity, but one of the things that, again, we're trying to do is to build a rapport with the community and repair some bridges that have been torn down over the past 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 decades. Repairing those bridges and rebuilding that trust is not something that comes overnight.
Right.
Which is why taking these guys and girls out of these cars and actually putting them on foot, forcing them to walk and interact with the community just to build relationships. If you're driving around in a squad car, driving past people on the corner, never stopping to take the opportunity to stop and have a conversation with them, you can never know who these people are. You can never know what their troubles are. You don't know what's ailing them. You do not know what you can possibly do for them to make their existence a lot better. So getting them out of the cars, getting them on foot, and actually having them interact and engage the community is one step toward rebuilding this process. Is there racial profiling? I can't give you a definitive answer on that. I've, if you want to say, use racial profiling as a term, I've been racial profiled.
Okay.
Driving around in my personal vehicle, I've been pulled over for what seemed to be no reason. But once I pulled over they did what they had to do and found out I wasn't doing anything wrong, I was sent on my way. But, it's just more bridges that need to be mended in our community. So,
So that's a good question. So when we deal with the young people who are in the who are being pulled over by the police, how should they respond? How should they act when the police pull them over? Should they jump out the car, acting outright, or what do you suggest?
Just
how people should respond when the police?
Actually, first thing you want to do is just pull over. Pull over, remain calm. Make sure that your hands are visible at all time. Allow the officer to come up to you and explain to you what's going on. Listen. Don't try to overtalk them. Don't try to double talk them. And 90% of the time, you'll leave that situation without getting a ticket and probably with a positive experience.
Great.
A great police officer is going to let you dictate the tone of the situation. You're going to start kind of low, and if you want to escalate it, then they'll try to meet whatever force that you're using with force. So, but I mean, if you're there, you're calm, you're courteous.
So
not all police officers
not to de-escalate the situation.
Exactly. Like I say, hands visible. Let them know that you have driver's license, insurance, and the situation should end.
We got a caller there. We're going to take that caller. The caller that hasn't. Caller, are you there? What's your name?
Yes, I'm here.
Yes.
Basically, I'm calling because I respect what you all are talking about,
okay.
And I think it's important that we learn. But the key point is, I'm a father, and my son was arrested. 7 police came to our house, tore up the furniture. They found a $10 bag, and they insulted me, handcuffed me. I'm 74 years old. I'm an insurance agent for 35 years. My wife is a social worker, and we do our best. We live in the ghetto because we had to take care of her parents. It was like a nursing home, our house. So we couldn't move to a middle-class area. So we live in a high-crime area with a lot of gangs, a lot of dope, a lot of everything. But I fought to teach my child the right way to walk, and that you can earn money legitimately and to get an education. He got 2 years of college. He's on his way into a nursing program where he'll get a bachelor's in science. But the police came in and lied. In fact, when they asked me what I was, I said Negro. They called me a liar because I'm light-skinned. And I never had a Negro policeman downgrade me because of my race or call me a liar or tell lies.
Right.
But I've noticed that other police, they work on a basis that they want to degrade you and they want to destroy you. And instead of coming in and saying, look, boy, you got a $10 bag, that can lead to a lot of problems. We don't want to see you get all messed up. We're going to take this bag and warn you, but if we catch you again, you're going in. No, they tore up the apartment, tore up his desk, handcuffed him, took him in on a $10 bag, and they handcuffed me. I'm a heart patient.
Right, sir. Hey, caller, let me cut in. Do you have a question that you want to ask the first dep?
Well, what can you do about things like that?
Okay. We'll let them answer that.
Okay, first thing you should have did was file a complaint with the Independent Police Review Authority. Well, that's the second thing you should have did. The first thing you should have did was to get on the phone and ask for a supervisor. There was no supervisor present during the execution of the search warrant, and it should have been one present. You should have asked for a supervisor to come and then explain the situation as you just explained it to me to the supervisor, and the supervisor would have filed a complaint against the officers in the way that you were treated. I mean, we're trying to instill an element of transparency and police legitimacy, and in instances like that actually set us back. So we're in the process of training the whole department on how to treat citizens that they run across and not abuse people and violate their civil rights.
Okay, caller, we appreciate that. All right, we got another caller that's on the line, and we'll take this caller. Caller, can you ask
I'm
your
not
question?
taking my frustration out on you, but the bottom line is this. When you check out a lot of city colleges, I have been in a situation, I'm talking about my own personal experience. I live right by Kennedy King College, and I have a hard time being able to walk across the campus in peace. I don't look like no thug. If I go to other campuses, they can have people dressed from head to toe, covered, wearing masks on their face, looking like Batman or the Lone Ranger. They don't bother them. But they harass me a lot of times. Matter of fact, to answer the last question to the last person to call, your civilian police board, it don't work. Matter of fact, I have said this over and over again. I got a lawsuit against the city, the board of trustees, City College of Chicago. Check it out, Joseph Broom, in terms of harassment, intimidation, and discrimination. And they do that a lot in terms of a lot of city affiliated places because that police civilian review board is a joke.
So, Joe,
it really is a joke.
Joe, you have a question you want to ask?
No, I'm just saying that I had dealt with in terms of, you're talking about there's no type of racial profiling going on. It is. It's well and alive. A black man cannot hardly walk across the campuses, City College's campuses, because they are being racially profiled. And matter of fact, a lot of them are being kicked out of school because it's getting to that far and that thick. You cannot say that's not happening. It has been documented a lot of times by the Sun-Times newspaper.
Okay, Joe, we appreciate that. We got your call, and you called in a couple of times, but we appreciate that, and we appreciate your comment that you made. Listen, we're going to do it on a little lighter note. First step, whatever happened to Officer Friendly? Will we ever get Officer Friendly back?
You know what?
We'll lighten it up a little bit.
I don't think you'll get it. But, back to answer the gentleman's question that just called in, I didn't say that racial profiling did not exist. I actually gave an example where I was pulled over for doing nothing. So, it does exist. So it's not anything that we can sweep under the rug. And I'm sitting here as an example, being victimized by it. So it's what do we do to move beyond that? Officer Friendly. The foot patrol guys are the new Officer Friendly.
Okay.
That's what we're doing on a larger scale to get these young men and women out and engage in our communities, to talk to our youth, to talk to our seniors, and let everybody know that we're actually there to serve them. It's difficult to do from behind car doors. You're just driving up and down the street. Put them on foot. Let them get out there and know the people in the community. Let them know what it is to interact with them. Let them know that these people in the community are not someone you could fear. They're actually probably one of your greatest allies when it comes to trying to help you help them. They should be our eyes and ears in the community. They're all day, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And if something happens, these are the people with the right amount of trust that can help us do our jobs.
Listen, we got less than 2 minutes, and we'll allocate you that time. Is there anything about the Chicago Police Department that Chicago doesn't know that you think we ought to know?
I think that the Chicago Police Department had made some missteps in the past, and we're trying to rectify that by being transparent. Just about anything that you want to know about the Chicago Police Department, you can go online and find out. The various officers in your district, status of complaint investigations, when we're hiring, what it takes to be a Chicago police officer. I actually did a small public servants announcement that went out to the communities when we were hiring last year about the steps that it took, the education that you needed, the additional points that you got if you were a graduate of Chicago Public Schools or if you had military experience. We as a people need to stop complaining about treatment by the police and start doing something about it. As I started off the program with, I grew up in North Lawndale, Austin, and Inglewood. And just like I've heard tonight, all of my experiences with the police department were not positive. Mm-hmm. The only way that if you want to make change is to become a part of the organization and make change from within. If you feel victimized by the police, you may not want to do it, you may not be able to do it, but talk to some of these young men and women that are on the right path and let them know that, we need people that look like us to represent and to patrol our communities. Become a part of the solution.
Very good. We want to thank First Dep Al Wysinger for sharing with us tonight. I'm Roosevelt Watkins. We're out of time, but definitely never out of information. We'll see you next Thursday at 7:30 p.m. as we talk about Buckle Up. Click it or ticket is what I'm trying to say. We'll see you next week. Thank you so very much.